Computer recording's in progress. Okay, and
Oh,
I have a camera up here that I'm also recording on just in case. So give me a moment to set that up and then we'll get started because I know that you guys have lives to get back to.
not really.
Not really. And there's Dad chiming in. All right. Okay. I was actually stumping around earlier without my crutches, so
She wants to know if she can step in and interview what's going on, maybe sit over here somewhere. Is that okay?
oh, of course, yeah. Bring her
Okay.
on in.
How do I turn off my camera so that people don't see me getting up and walking around?
Oh, I see. So if you just put your cursor in the lower bar, it will pop up as audio and video. And all you have to do is click the video icon and it'll go with a red bar through it. You'll have to do the audio too, otherwise we'll hear you like farting and laughing and all that in the background. Okay?
Okay.
Just trying to make it memorable so it sticks. Izzy, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm on my cane still.
Oh, you're still on your cane. So everybody, this is Isabel Gnarly. She is one of the nurses that works at Vallejo that we work together in the OR and she was about 2 months before me. She had a broken leg that had an infection. She just went through a terrible roller coaster. I'm just offering your life up here, Izzy. Sorry about that. But anyway, so we're laughing because we're like welfare sisters together. So we text each other and email each other and try to, keep up to date with what's going on with each other's recovery. So
That's
thought you had time to
right.
be here with us today. Okay, I'm gonna give Dad just a couple seconds to get back to the screen and then we'll go ahead and get started because I just want to get this over with. Nerve-wracking. All right. Let's see. Make sure you guys can see that. Okay. Uh, okay. Like that. Okay. Dad, you have another participant joining
Shortly. I hear
shortly.
her.
Okay. And
She's coming
baby.
this way.
Yeah. So once we get started, if you all would just do me a solid and mute yourselves.
Do what?
So you put your cursor in the lower section of the screen and a little icon pops up that says audio and video. You just
Yeah.
push the audio microphone and it'll put a slash through it and that will indicate that your audio is turned off.
Oh,
Chrissy's laughing. She's like, I live in Zoom. I live in Microsoft Teams. I know every single detail about how these work. I could totally help everybody. She could be my techie in the background. We all low tech, girl. It's not just the environment. Okay. Hi, Gay. Welcome. Thank you for showing. Oh, Megan's here. Really? That's cute. Okay. Let me allow your kiddo to join. Adam might pop in here too. Where's she at? Hi, Megan. Welcome. Oh, wow. It's so good to see you. Are you at work?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome. Thanks for showing up. That's so sweet of you to show up. I was explaining to everybody this is a super low tech environment because I just didn't want to have to pay the cost to take a taxi out to a library and use a study room where they were going to roll up the same size screen behind me on a little mobile device, and it was probably going to be horrible sound quality anyway. So I have all of those things here at the house. I don't need to worry about that. I can recreate it here. All right. I'm going to give 3 more minutes to Adam if he wants to show or Allison. And let me just ask in advance that you all, be gentle at the end with the feedback. Uh, and a little background on this. This is for my final semester in the master's degree. This is a communicating biomimicry class. So we are recording these so that our fellow students can deconstruct our speaking style and let us know what works, what doesn't work, presentation wise, all that good stuff. So this is like me beginning to crawl like a little biomimicry baby because my eventual goal, I think, is I enjoy being on stage. And if you stick a microphone in my hand, you can't get it out of my hand. I really like talking to people. I like presenting things. So This is more, I think eventually as I'm moving forward in life, I'm probably going to end up doing a lot of public speaking. So this is going to be beneficial to help me understand what works and what doesn't. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? Nope. Awesome. I love it. Yes, ma'am. Mama chiming in. Punch that audio. There you go, Mama.
You can hear me.
I can.
So, brief, right? Why? Why do you start talking and you have to? So, this presentation is in a sentence or two focused on what?
Oh, I will get to that.
Oh, okay.
The presentation will explain that.
Okay.
Hi, Adam. Welcome. Where are you hailing from? I don't recognize your background.
My office,
At home?
downtown.
Oh, downtown. Okay, so you're renting space. All right, nice. Okay, well, Adam, everybody, Adam. All right, so I think everybody's here that I've invited. Potentially Allison might show up, but we're just going to go ahead and get going because everybody's got lives. So, okay. So, thank you all for showing. Thank you for your time and attention. My name is Tamara, and I want to talk to you today a little bit about how biomimicry can help shape our future. So currently, right now, the world's census is sitting at about 8.1 billion people. And it only took us about 11 years to get to that point. So if you can imagine, when we're looking ahead, we have a lot of problems, well, challenges that we're faced with, such as agriculture. How are we going to feed all of these people? The current practices aren't really what we would call sustainable. Transportation. I'm sure all of you are familiar with getting into traffic and getting stuck. So we're trying to figure out if there's going to be more people and more cars, how are we going to meet that demand? So just in general, biomimicry as a concept can sort of help these things. Let's see. Here we go. There are some current arguments going on between great minds. So like sociologists, scientists, they're all bickering back and forth between themselves about which one actually has a greater influence. Is it technology has a greater influence on society and shapes society, or is it the other way around? There are some people that believe that actually it's society that uses technology to create, that influences them with the ideas that they then influence technology with. There are some people that believe, such as Mark Zuckerberg or used to be Steve Jobs, that technology is such a powerful force that it actually drives social change. And we're talking about, you know, political, cultural, economical change, huge devices within the social constructs. And then there are those that I sort of side with that actually believe that it is a very nuanced structure between the two, that society and technology both equally influence each other. And you can kind of see this, smart technologies that are growing right now. People, the demand drives what social or what technology innovators will come up with. And then once they create something, they keep trying to create to influence society so that society buys these things, increasing their profits, but society will push back and say, I don't even need that. And that technology will fall off of the map. So society actually shapes technology and vice versa, okay? Y'all are with me so far? Okay, so this is a lovely infographic that a previous alumni came up with. She graduated the program, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago. Her name is Caitlin Shirazi, I believe, and she currently works for Microsoft. She actually started in a different department and kept talking and kept talking and kept talking about biomimicry until they finally actually just created a position for her within Microsoft. So she actually helps them focus their efforts on expansion, invention, innovation through a biomimicry lens. So currently right now, one of the projects she's working on is like data centers. How do we, currently data centers, they stretch hundreds, thousands of acres, and they draw enormously off of power grids because you have to keep them cool. So she's helping them design things to help balance not taking over so much green space, not using so much electricity. So this infographic shows you kind of what the intersection between technology and society has produced or possibly will produce, okay? So in the top left quadrant, we have the low tech, high nature. This is the traditional past. This is where our ancestors came from. This is where, you know, prior to like mass colonization and, you know, like the cradle of civilization popping up, you understand there was hardly any technology at all. If anything, there was like sticks and rocks, and you know, then they just invented the wheel. Okay, so that's beautiful, pristine nature. Okay, so low tech and low nature is our current society, what we have right now, and that's in the bottom left quadrant. This is our impoverished reality. Currently, we have an imbalance that's happening between technology and society. Okay, so we have nature that's getting pushed out to make room for social advances, technological advances, which is increasing pollution and, you know, environmental issues that we're having. Okay, so in the bottom right quadrant, you have high tech, low nature. This is the dystopian future. This is where if we continue to push with innovation and we have nothing but technology spread across the world, we're going to have a lot less natural resources. We're going to have fewer green spaces. We're going to have air quality problems. We're just going to be expounding on issues, or we're going to be expanding on issues that we're having current problems with. And then the top right quadrant is what the utopian society might look like, where you have high nature, high technology intersection, where it's like, you know, Flash Gordon's type life, where people have flying cars, you know, there's hardly any impact. We are working with nature in order to achieve this beautiful, clean, wonderful society that, you know, gives back to the earth and to each other. Okay. So, the thing about biomimicry is that it can actually push innovation through a lens, a design lens that will help us focus on achieving a beneficial future that will actually, this will meet a lot of the, I think it's global equality standards. Anyway, where we're basically saying human beings are important, nature is important, technology is important, all of these sectors coming together, okay? So biomimicry is a really wonderful way to help bring all of that together and meet the sustainable goals that we all have just as human beings, okay? So what is biomimicry? Mom, you asked that question. I'm going to answer it now, right? Okay, so biomimicry, first of all, the word, excuse me, broken down into two pieces is the Greek word bios, meaning life, and the last Greek word mimesis, meaning to imitate. So the practice of biomimicry is actually the conscious emulation of nature's genius, where we're going to the natural world, studying natural design. And by that, I mean the way that plants grow, the way that systems work together in order to produce designs that are in harmony with nature and they benefit society as well. So there are a couple of things I'd like to ask you to keep in mind. So there are different forms of working with the natural world. Bioutilization is where you would harvest crops. So you're using the natural world to help fuel society. Then you have bioassisted, where you use organisms to help produce things, or like cleaning up toxic waste with bacteria, that sort of thing. Using silkworms to create silk garments, that sort of stuff. So you're working hand in hand with nature to create products, okay? And then there's biomorphism, where you take shapes and patterns and forms of the natural world and you put it into architecture. Okay, so there are just a few variations upon a theme when it comes to working with the natural world. There are also a few things that we use within the biomimicry solution space. So we go after like the form. So here you can see there's a leaf that has a hydrophobic type coating on its surface. Really, technically, it's a whole bunch of tiny little fine hairs that repel water. Okay, so we'll go after the shape of what the leaf is doing in order to repel water. Then we have process, where we're actually going after something like transevaporation, where they'll pull water from with their root system and push it up out of their leaves if it's excess, and then that evaporates and goes into the water cycle. And then we have the system, where actually like all of the plants are coming together to use water, cycle water. How do they clean the water, and how do they disperse it amongst all the plants? So there's form, process, and system. Those are the levels of biomimicry when we are applying it as a design concept. Everybody with me so far? All right, cool. Okay, so I want to introduce you to a couple of biomimicry cases, just to get the juices flowing and let you kind of understand what I'm going after with all this biomimicry talk. So the first one is these are current actual design concepts and products that have come out. So sharks at the microscopic level actually have what they call denticles all over the surface of their skin, and actually it reduces drag when they're swimming through the water. It also keeps bacteria from adhesing to their surface of their skin. So it's a wonderful thing. It's a natural way to clean things, and it helps reduce drag so they slip through the water really fast. So they've designed this drag reduced swimsuit that they introduced into the Olympic Games to help. It's not a drug. So they can actually adopt it and use it and get faster swim time. So that's a novel concept. Evapotranspiration, what I was just talking about, how a plant will draw water out of the ground and push it up through its entire body and then push it out the top of its leaves. That has helped design eco-friendly toilets that help separate waste. A huge issue for worlds that are, or for countries that are they have infrastructure issues. They don't have a lot of money, developing countries, things of that nature. They have a really big problem with waste, human excrement and whatnot. So they're trying to figure out an affordable, easily constructed and replicated to scale way to address that issue. And so one of the ways they're doing that is creating these eco toilets that help separate the waste. Because if you mix, sorry, we're going into the the bioterms here. If you mix urine and excrement together, then they're no longer actually useful. They become a waste that turns into nasty bacteria, filth, and it just continues to grow. But if you keep them separate, you can actually use what's in the urine to fertilize plants. You can use the excrement, as we all know, we can turn it into manure, and it can actually regenerate soil for us. So that's a wonderful design, I thought. There was, I think it was about 15 years ago, where this is more bio assisted. They took a slime mold. I don't know if any of you are familiar with slime molds. They are the most incredible things in the world. They don't have a central nervous system or brain, but they grow. They're able to sense food, temperature changes, moisture environments. Like, it's just bizarre. So a whole bunch of scientists in Japan got together and decided, we have to expand. We have limited space. How are we going to figure out to put the subway system in, or rail systems anywhere underground, to be able to not have to raise structures to the ground and increase construction costs? So they used slime molds, and they stuck it in the ground, and they said, go for it. And the slime mold actually found the new path. And that's what they ended up basing their map of their subway systems on, is how the slime mold actually created its transportation through the soil. It was really a wonderful study that was done. It was amazing. Then, of course, we have some interesting little things, like this is the tardigrade. He's a tiny little animal that lives in your body. And he has this wonderful ability to actually dehydrate himself and live in a suspended animation state where he is not alive, but he's not dead. I say he because he looks like a manatee, and all manatees for me are he. So, but the way that he does that is he excretes a glucose-based solution that eventually turns hard like a glass, and it coats every single cell so that the cell doesn't break apart or die whenever this suspended animation, dehydrated way of living actually comes about. So they copied that with biomimicry, and they actually applied it to vaccines, so that vaccines no longer have to be stored in refrigeration. They no longer have to be transported on refrigeration, and it extends the life of vaccines. So that's a wonderful biomimicry example. Then, of course, this is a system level discussion where we actually went to nature. We got inspired by the way that forests all communicate with each other, and they share nutrients with each other. And we realized that forests are self-regenerating. They don't have any waste. Any waste that they drop, like leaf litter, is nutrient dense, especially when it breaks down and decomposes in the soil. So we look at the entire picture and we say, well, we can do that as humans. We don't have to have a linear society where we extract materials, create something under high heat, high pressure that's highly toxic. We use it once or twice, and then we dump it into a trash system somewhere, and it's just piling up, creating problems for the environment. So we're learning from nature how to create a circular economy where all the waste that we produce can be regenerated or reused in a cycle over and over and over again. So we're not increasing waste in the environment. And then, of course, they studied animal limbs. where an animal's joint is actually designed to absorb minimal intense shocks. Like you can see this dog is leaping in the air. Their joints are designed to accept impact. So they designed bridges with these special joints that were actually mimicking an animal's joint. That's a wonderful thing. Also, adhesive is a big deal. It's high viscosity. It does off-gassing. It's a really, like, the end product is terrible for the environment. So they're always trying to find ways to create a really powerful adhesive, especially things that can work underwater. So they studied mussels and found how mussels actually attach to surfaces that were wet. It's a multi-layered process, and they were able to create underwater adhesives that were actually healthy and good for the environment, and eventually break down over time when they're not being used into benign chemical constituents that can be absorbed in the environment. And I think that's all I can really give you right now for examples. As far as a discussion about biomimicry, I just want to say that I love the topic, clearly, and I'm really trying to get the meme out there, and that was really what the focus of this talk was about. If you guys have any feedback, I would love to hear it now. And we're almost at 15 minutes, and that's all the time I get you for. Does anybody have any comments that they would like to offer up?
Good job.
Okay, thanks.
Tardigrades are awesome.
Oh, aren't they? You know about them? Aren't they cool?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody have any suggestions or something that you were hoping to hear about?
I had
will
no
say that-
expectations. Go ahead, Adam.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say that it's just your lighting in the room. I don't know if this is relevant. Some of the slides were hard to see just because of the way that the screen has a light behind it.
Okay.
And it's like it's flooding the
Super bright.
like anytime that, yeah, like right now, thank you is hard to read, and you can see thank, but you is pretty hard to read.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, and I had no expectations of what I was going to hear, but I thought the material was fascinating. So I walked away learning material, and I thought that was really great. You know, and I do this a lot daily, is, you know, teaching. So I would just recommend taking a deep breath. I have to tell myself that a lot. So just slow down just a little bit. You'll get the material out there.
Awesome.
But it was great. I really enjoyed myself.
Cool. Thank you for the feedback.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it. Anybody else?
Very good, Tamara. I really enjoyed myself listening to you and the topic.
And it's so good to see you, Izzy.
Yeah.
My welfare sister.
I really love the topic.
What's that?
I really love your topic.
Thanks.
I didn't know what biomimicry was. Now I'm
You kind of
educated.
have an idea?
Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Small steps
Thank
forward.
you.
Excellent. Anybody else before we sign off?
It was really enjoyable, and some of the things you were talking about, I wanted to know more. So it was like, wait, I had to know some
Okay.
more.
Okay, so potentially slide down
Interested
between
me
solutions and explain them a
It
little
was
bit more. Maybe you have fewer
fascinating. It
case
was like,
studies.
well, I want to know more about that one and that one and that one and that one. And so that's what I would expect would happen if you were to do this somewhere. There's going to be, especially in the middle to latter part, where there were terms you are familiar with in biomimicry and what they meant. And I just wanted to hear more about it. So it was very, very nice, very enjoyable.
Was the amount of information too dense? Was I going too quickly?
Oh, no, it wasn't that so much. You were speaking quickly, but I had no trouble following what you were talking about.
Okay.
But you were mentioning some topics and you give an example, and then I would want to know more than the one or two sentences, because the limitation of what you're doing right now, you couldn't obviously expand it, and then it'd be a 45-minute to an hour, but it still was, I just wanted you to know that it's like, that's really cool. Wait, that's all. I think there's probably more. How do I find out more is what was happening.
So I was thinking maybe potentially limiting the number of case studies or doing a quicker intro and just jumping to the case studies. So, okay. All right. Thanks for the feedback, Mom.
What is your typical audience? Do you typically have an audience of people that are walking into an auditorium that they have no idea what they're going to hear about, or is this
Well,
are
that
you going to
depends.
be?
It depends, it's whatever the setup is. Like, this is my family and friends. This is just a general audience, and most of you would know me, and then you would kind of know and hear me talking about biomimicry. But for the general public, most people don't really know what the term is because it's such a new term right now. It's actually an ancient practice, and we're trying to bring it into the technological space so that we can use it for design. But yeah, that's a good point. I should probably explain that as well.
Well, no, I was just saying I had never even heard the term before, and I think we had a general consensus among everybody, even though we didn't know anything about it. I think you did a great job, kind of at least scratching the surface on kind of the general idea that, and you could only go into it so deep before it, like she said, turns into a 45-minute or an hour,
Yeah.
So
Right. I
good
know.
job.
We're already sitting at 20 minutes with the feedback session. So, well, thank you very much, Megan, for the feedback. I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. I'm looking forward to seeing you for your wedding next year. This is really going to be a fun trip, you guys. And I just want to thank you again to everybody. Dad, did you have anything, or Gay?
No, it was
Nope.
interesting, though, very
Very,
interesting.
very interesting. And I was kind of hoping you would expand on a few of the topics, but I realize now this is an introduction
Yeah.
with
Oh,
case
okay.
studies.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's something good to know as well.
It took a little while for that to sink in, but okay, I get it now. Anyway,
Okay. This is excellent feedback, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm going to be using it to continue to grow as a biomimic, a public speaker. Keep an eye out. You'll see my name in the news, but all for good reasons. Okay, everybody.
Good.
Well, I'm going to hang up now, and I hope you all have an awesome day, and thank you again for participating.
Bye
Bye.
now.
Bye.
just want to say, you notice I didn't pick my nose one time,
But you could have.
but
And I
I
would
could
never
have.
have seen it because I wasn't really looking at the screen. Bye, everybody.
Bye.